Hey, it's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
If you're watching Facebook Live or YouTube Live, you'll see Pastor Jack Hibbs. Real radio you hear right here at Faith Talk Atlanta. Pastor, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you much.
Hey, listen, not just because you're there on the screen, but I love your show. I love the content. I love the approach. And as I mentioned earlier, they say that you and I look alike, so that even makes it better.
So, who is it that's saying that y'all look alike?
Well, that's just me dreaming.
Oh, I see. Okay,
but anyway, we appreciate just your passion, and we hear so many good things about you. We do want to talk about some things that are going on here in Georgia about the election and really how that lines up with our biblical worldview and just your input. But first, the Hibbs family, what are you excited about this Christmas? Do you have a favorite tradition? Do you have traditions? What do you do?
You know, our traditions are very, very simple. And I mean it when I tell you, just getting together. But this time, with all that this nation's gone through this year, just getting together is a big deal for us. We've got family members coming down from Northern California, the rest of our family here in Southern California coming together. We're going to be breaking about every rule the governor has established for us.
For you, yes.
Well, that leads me to this. Now, I know with Governor Newsom, there's been, churches on, but it's extremely small and streaming. How you guys doing at Calvary Chapel? Are you meeting together or what?
We've been wide open for, I think, 7 or 8 months. And when I say wide open, we offer literally every possibility for you to come and worship in person. You can actually come and sit in your car in the parking lot and get an FM radio signal. You can meet outdoors in a 1,500-seat outdoor auditorium with a jumbotron. You can meet in rooms where there's spacing provided, or you can do what most people do. And that is we pack out our sanctuary just under 3,000 seats, 3 services a Sunday morning, Wednesday nights packed out. And it's been that way since we opened up our doors on May 31st.
Wow. Good on you guys. Thank you for doing that. Pastor Jack Hibbs, real radio you hear here at Faith Talk Atlanta. All right. So we had talked before we went live. There is an election, and not only are we in the midst of it, January 6th, it is the 6th right now. We got to make it
January 5th.
Is it the 5th? In fact, pre-voting, I think, started yesterday.
Started on Monday. Yeah. So
So
we can go vote early.
I think we're going to take advantage of that. A lot of things swirling around. We've just gone through the presidential thing. It's over. I don't know. Let's talk about our Christian worldview and how important it is for us to step out and vote. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, first of all, and actually I want to respond to what you said just a second ago. One little word, that it's over or that it looks like it's over. Why should the Christian vote? Why should we communicate in our culture a biblical worldview? Well, number one, the easiest way that God has provided for us and our founding fathers have, and that is voting in a free republic. Here's the amazing thing. Believe it or not, the election is not over. According to the Constitution, it's actually settled at the moment of swearing in. The gathering of the Electoral College that we all just saw recently, that's actually not binding as long as an election is being contested. And It's being contested. So as you and I speak, as the two of us speak right now, there is a Senate hearing that has been called by the Department of Homeland Security. This is a big, serious meeting today on whether or not the election is compromised by foreign or domestic players that could have tried to thwart the election. That said, all the more reason why the Christian needs to be educated from the Bible, knowing the culture in which they live in, and then voting what I call a biblical worldview vote. So for me, I always encourage the church to do as I do, and that is I vote pro-life. That's the number one thing regarding the very heart of God is pro-life. That drives my voting, and that drives also much of my encouragement to the church here as to what party to register for. One's pro-life, one's pro-death, and to vote accordingly and to look for candidates that support that. In doing it, you guys, that's doing righteousness. I think that's something that's missing in the Christian church today. We read, we sing songs, and all that, but No one studies. We just went to church. Now, Monday morning, how do I do righteousness? How do I be a Christian? Will, and every opportunity that you and I have.
And isn't it interesting? You talked about how it's not over until the swearing in, but the media would have us think that it is over. It's said and done, and so there's nothing we can do, I guess, is what they would like to get across, right?
Yeah, of course. And look, it doesn't take an Einstein to figure out this entire election season. The media moguls have driven the narrative, and they've driven a new reality. And that reality is what they say it is. And I'll give you an example. And I don't mean to offend any of your viewers right now, but I'll just be very, very honest, and all of us are experiencing it. Number one, you and I have seen Joe Biden standing in front of a backdrop that says Office of the President-elect. Mm-hmm. I wonder how many of your viewers right now know there is no such thing as an Office of the President-elect. It's never existed. No department of the government has ever created it. Has no oversight committee. There's no one or to get answers to. The reason why is no one had ever heard of it before until Joe Biden made it up the other day. That is a spin to make you think that it's a done deal. And if you listen to Fox and CNN and everybody else, it's a done deal. But legally, it's not a done deal. And quite frankly, there is a presidential executive order that President Trump could initiate that was signed back in 2018, which is amazing, you guys, because at that time, the Democrats were crying about how Trump is not doing anything about foreign involvement in an election. Back then, if you guys remember, of course you do, it was all about Russia collusion. Right. So Trump brought together and put together an executive order. And what's funny is now we know that votes have been counted in Frankfurt, Germany. Votes have been counted in areas of Slovenia. Ballots have been literally trafficked abroad and then brought back. Well, Trump could snap his finger and invoke that order and put the entire thing on investigative pause. So it's not over until the fat angel sings, quite frankly. So we will pray. We will keep praying. And no matter what, let's be honest. I mean, whoever's president, it doesn't change the fact that Jesus sits on the throne. Yes. We're Christians. We're going to shine our light. We're going to do the exact same thing with or without a Trump presidency, because who we serve, he never changes. And neither does our message, and neither does doing righteousness.
Yes. Love that. Pastor Jack Hibbs, you hear him on Real Radio right here at Faith Talk Atlanta, and you can watch his services on the website that he has on YouTube and Facebook. Pastor, let's talk a little bit about, we're going through the pandemic, and we had talked, I think, beforehand about the church services and stuff. You know, there's been a lot of fear. There's still some fear. The economy, unsurety there. And, the vaccine that's out, is it going to work? Blah, blah, blah. So what are you saying to the congregation, your radio listeners, your television listeners? What are you saying to them to help them feel secure? Obviously, you're going to the Bible, but what are you saying to them to get them through this mess?
Yeah, number one, I don't mean to sound flippant about this. I'm not. But number one thing, I encourage the church to wash your hands a lot. Cough into your sleeve, and if you're sick, stay home. Our moms taught us that 1,000 years ago. It works. And so what you say, well, Jack, that is so reckless. Well, wait a minute. We've got 12 to 14,000 people gathering on campus every Sunday for almost 8 months, and we've had no outbreak. Mm-hmm. Look, if there was ever going to be a super spreader event in this modern time, I was recently told by Tony Perkins at the Family Research Council that we are the largest under roof gathering church service in America right now.
Wow.
Well, it's been that way for 8 months. So where's everybody dead? Where's everybody sick? It's not happened. Now, look, number one, Christians, I hope anyway, practice a healthier lifestyle, so maybe our immune system's better. Maybe the people are washing their hands, and maybe they are staying home when they're sick. But the fact of the matter is there's been ample time for us to be a total disaster, and the exact opposite has happened. In fact, we just saw the other day something that was confirmed to us in a Gallup poll. Maybe you guys saw it. The recent Gallup poll showed that the only people group in America to avoid mental illness and depression were those who faithfully attended church services during the pandemic. And that's exactly what we've seen here. And then just getting down to the practicality of it. We sanitize our sanctuary and our external buildings regularly. We hired a full-time cleaning crew that mops up everything all the time. There's a cleaning crew in between services here, literally. We are just being super safe. And so the pandemic, look, number one thing, like always, is fear. I think our services have dispelled fear in people's lives. They've heard about the power of God's word and the love of God. And people are walking in the doors excited. They're driving. I am not kidding when I tell you right now. In fact, last Sunday is a family of 4 that flies from Seattle. They have the means to do it. They fly from Seattle to go to church. Regular people driving from Las Vegas is close, though, fairly close. Palm Springs, Palm Desert, Pasadena, Los Angeles, Hollywood, Bel Air, San Diego. This is normal for us right now. Why? Because people are starving to have hope and normalcy, and so they're coming. I think if somebody was to come, they would be shocked at the sense of love, joy, and normalcy.
Pastor Jack Hibbs, thank you so much for what you do and helping to bring hope and keeping your church doors open. It's so incredibly important. And just real quick before we have to get off here, just encourage our listeners who are here in Georgia and with the vote coming up January 5th, and give them some encouragement.
Yeah, absolutely. Our nation is founded upon epic or kairos moments. These are moments that make a shift change in the course of this nation. If you know American history, some of those greatest changes took place with 1 man, 3 man, maybe a military moment, or even with George Washington. How could God use a retreat to bring about a victory against the greatest power on earth? Well, Georgia, this is your moment. This is the moment where the Georgians can make a difference that can set the course of this nation on freedom to be defended, and freedom to be retained by your vote. And I might add, Georgia, please vote pro-life. If you go and vote for the 2 candidates that are pro-life on your ballot, this is a slam dunk. God will be honored, and you will be doing righteousness, and Georgia will save the republic.
Love that. Pastor Jack Hibbs, Real Radio. Dan will flash his website up there, jackhibbs.com. Check him out. Check out the show Real Radio on Faith Talk Atlanta. Pastor, thank you so much. We look forward to talking to you in 2021. Blessings to you.
Blessings to you. Thank you both.
Hey, we'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.